I dreamed all night. All night. Sweet, sweet dreams. Weasel. Young. Just like old times. Kissing me on my neck. Weasel. Maybe you better go lie down. Yes, I will.
Boogie man coming round the bend. Is boogie man. Is boogie man.
Tribute.
Salesman.
Greetings, my fellow Fright Fiends. Thanks so much for dropping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. Behind me is Eva Miller's boarding house. As everyone remembers, it was located on...
It's on Railroad Street.
And this is part 20 of my quiet little tribute to Salem's Lot. And in this one, I'm going to be focusing on actress Marie Windsor, who played Eva Miller. Marie Windsor, born Emily Marie Bertelsen, December 11, 1919, through December 10, 2000, was an American actress known for her femme fatale characters in the classic film noir features Force of Evil, The Narrow Margin, and The Killing. Windsor's height, 5'9", created problems for her in scenes with all but the tallest actors. She was the female lead in so many B-movies that she was dubbed the queen of the genre. Windsor was born in 1919 in Marysville, Utah, the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Lane Bertelsen. She graduated from Marysville High School in 1934, doing a musical reading as part of the graduation exercises. She attended Brigham Young University, where she participated in dramatic productions. She was described in a 1939 newspaper article as an accomplished athlete, expert as a dancer, swimmer, horsewoman, and plays golf, tennis, and skis. In 1939, Windsor was chosen from a group of 81 contestants to be Queen of the Covered Wagon Days in Salt Lake City, Utah. She was unofficially appointed Miss Utah of 1939 by her hometown's Chamber of Commerce and trained for the stage under Hollywood actress and coach Maria Ospinskaya. Voluptuous and leggy, but unusually tall for a starlet of her generation, Windsor felt she was handicapped when playing opposite actors of average stature, claiming she had to progressively bend at the knees walking across the room in a scene with John Garfield. As she later recalled, a production with the 6'5" Forrest Tucker as co-star made her happy with finally getting a male lead who was her own size. In later years, thanks to her early screen success, Windsor was able to pursue her studies more extensively, primarily with Stella Adler and also at the Lee Strasberg Theater Institute. Windsor worked in radio in Salt Lake City before moving to California. In California, she worked as a model for glamour photographer Paul Hesse. In 1940, after her move to Hollywood and entering Ospenskaya's drama school, she appeared in the play 40,000 Smiths, her first use of the stage name Marie Windsor. The next year, she appeared in Once in a Lifetime at the Pasadena Playhouse. She also played a villain in a New York production of Follow the Girls. In 1986, Marie Windsor played Frances Carson in the premiere of The Bar Off Melrose by Oliver Haley et al. After working for several years as a telephone operator, a stage and radio actress, and a bit part and extra player in films, Windsor began playing feature parts on the big screen in 1947. Her first film contract with Warner Brothers in 1942 resulted from her writing jokes and submitting them to Jack Benny. Windsor said she submitted the gags under the name M.E. Windsor because I was afraid he might be prejudiced against a woman gag writer. When Benny finally met Windsor, he was stunned by her good looks and had a producer sign her to a contract. After a tenure with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, in which the studio signed her, put her in 2 small roles, and then promptly forgot her, she signed a 7-year contract in 1948 with Enterprise Productions. Actress' first memorable role in 1948 was with John Garfield in Force of Evil, playing seductress Edna Tucker. She had roles in numerous 1950s film noirs, notably The Sniper, The Narrow Margins, City That Never Sleeps, and Stanley Kubrick's heist film The Killing, in which she played Elijah Cook Jr.'s scheming wife. She also made her first foray into science fiction with the release of Catwoman of the Moon, 1953. Windsor co-starred with Randolph Scott in The Bounty Hunter, 1954. She appeared in The Mutton Puncher in Season 3 of Cheyenne in 1957. She appeared in 1954 as Belle Starr in the premiere episode of Stories of the Century. In 1962, she played Anne Jessie, a woman dying in childbirth, in the episode of The Wanted Man of Lawman. Windsor appeared in the first season of Barnaby Jones, episode 20 Million Alibis, May 5, 1973. Windsor worked consistently through the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. She appeared on programs such as Cheyenne, Bat Masterson, Bonanza, Tales of Wells Fargo, Yancey Deringer, 77 Sunset Strip, Maverick, and the 1957 episode titled The Quick and the Dead with James Garner and Gerald Moore as Doc Holliday, and in the 1962 episode of Epitaph for a Gambler with Jack Kelly, The Red Skelton Hour, Hawaiian Eye, Perry Mason, Bourbon Street Beat, The FBI, The Incredible Hulk, Rawhide, Adam 12, Mannix, Charlie's Angels, General Hospital, Salem's Lot, and Murder, She Wrote. Windsor remained on screen once or so annually up to the 90s, playing her final role and going into retirement in 1991 at the age of 72. Windsor has a star in at 1549 North Vine Street in the motion picture section of Hollywood Walk of Fame. It was dedicated January 19, 1983. In 1987, Windsor received the Los Angeles Drama Critics Circle Award for Best Actress for her work in The Bar Off Melrose. She also received the Ralph Morgan Award for the Screen Actors Guild for her service on the organization's board of directors. Windsor was married briefly to band leader Ted Steele. They were wed April 21st, 1946 in Marysville, Utah. They divorced the same year. An item in a 1953 newspaper column says that the marriage was ended by annulment, not divorce. In July of 1950, newspaper columnist Luella Parsons reported Marie Windsor has set her marriage to Alex Luseman, a Beverly Hills stockbroker, for October. She married realtor Jack Hupp, a member of the 1936 U.S. Olympic basketball team. Hupp had his own family connection with show business. He was son of actor Earl Rodney Hupp, with whom Windsor had a son. Richard Rodney was inducted posthumously into the University of Southern California Athletic Hall of Fame in 2007. Hupp had a son, Chris, from a prior marriage. Windsor was politically conservative, a member of the Screen Actors Guild, and supportive of the Motion Picture and Television Fund. A Republican, she supported Dwight Eisenhower's campaign in the 1952 presidential election. After her acting career ended, Windsor became a painter and sculptor. Windsor was also a lifelong member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Windsor died of congestive heart failure on December 10, 2000, the day before her 81st birthday. She is interred with Hupp in her native Marysville, Utah, at Mountain View Cemetery. So I was able to track down a interview with Marie Windsor that took place in 1997. It's called Tales of Noir and B-Movies, Marie Windsor. This was done by Jerry Renshaw. It was published on October 31st, 1997. And there is a portion of this where she talks about Salem's Lot, and I'm going to read that portion now. Now, at the beginning of this excerpt that I'm going to read, at first she's talking about the Stanley Kubrick film The Killing, which also featured Elijah Cook Jr. Now, fans of Salem's Lot will know he also played Weasel Phillips in Salem's Lot, and him and Marie Windsor co-starred in that movie as well. So it says, The Killing has such a great screenplay and plot. I've always especially liked the way the movie was structured chronologically. It kind of seems like a precursor to Pulp Fiction in that way. What was Stanley Kubrick like to work with? Marie Windsor, there was another very quiet man. I heard later he got a big voice, like when he was working with Kirk Douglas. When I worked with him, he was very soft-spoken, and he was the kind of director that never directed you in front of the crew or other actors. If he had any suggestions to me, he would say, Marie, come over here for a minute, will you? And then he would make a suggestion. He was very fast at the time. He was married to an artist, and he had her draw every scene with the actors and where the camera was. When I went to show him some wardrobe for the show, I saw his walls were covered with these drawings and sequence of how he'd shoot the picture. Austin Chronicle, you worked with Elisha Cook Jr. in that film, as well as a couple of others. Were you friends off screen as well? Marie Windsor, we became friends when I first worked with him, and I can't remember what that was, but I do remember that when we worked on The Killing, we were both glad because our paths had crossed several times through the years. Then when I did Salem's Lot, he was so sweet. We hadn't seen each other in 20 years. He came to the set with a lovely box with a huge orchid in it and said, it's so great to work with you again. Something like that. Austin Chronicle, you and Elisha Cook worked together again on Salem's Lot, directed by Tobe Hooper. Do you have any specific recollections about Tobe? Marie Windsor, I grew very fond of Tobe. I can't remember how I got to know him first, but anyway, he was always crazy about me and acted like it, so naturally I liked him. I was so fond of him that I tried to fix him up with a girlfriend of mine, but it didn't work out, but that's neither here nor there.
So no matter how many times I come to Ferndale, just being around these locations from my favorite movie of all time never ceases to amaze. This is the 13th time I've been in this town, and just thought it would be fun for these tributes that I love doing to these actors and actresses, and eventually the director of this film, the film that means so much to me, my favorite film of all time. It really makes me happy that I can pay tribute to these people that impacted my life at such a very young age. And Marie Windsor was just one of those people. I know that she has a relatively small part in the film, but the impact of her performance, the lovely person that she was, and finding out a little bit more about her history really has meant a lot to me. And I hope everyone has enjoyed this episode of Quiet Little Tribute to Salem's Lot. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I'd always love to hear everybody's opinions about the work that I do. And stay tuned for some more. I'm going to be shooting many more of these Quiet Little Tributes while I'm in Ferndale, and paying tribute to these amazing actors and actresses who have made this film so important to me. Really does make me very, very happy. So thanks so much everyone for watching. I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll talk to you again real soon. Take it easy, stay scared as always, and remember, you can do nothing against the master.